Open source is again upon us, and like last year, I waited until the last couple weeks to start working on my project for open source, which is going to be a mesh-tastic radio decoder running on a Raspberry Pi in a little mini rack. It's going to be cool, maybe, if I can actually get it finished. But I'm testing it out on a little product today that is not out yet, but I wanted to share it because I think it's pretty cool and something that I've wanted to see for a very long time. Now, speaking of open source, that actually reminds me of something that last year I brought my film camera. This is the Minolta X700, and it was the first SLR camera that I owned. And the first digital camera I owned is this Sony FD Mavica, which someday I might talk more about that, but I've taken a few rolls of this, and it reminded me of, at open source last year, there was the most embarrassing moment of my open source experience. So it was back at the Creator Hotel, and I went down to get a soda from the gift shop, and there were a few other creators walking around there, and Derek from Veritasium walks over. And you know, there's like tiers of YouTubers, and I'm like down on the most people don't know me tier, which is actually a good place to be because I'm an introvert, and that means I can kind of buzz out and not have anybody follow me around. But Derek is on one of the upper tiers where a lot of people recognize him. And one of the other creators walked over and he's like, hey Derek, I'm a big fan of your channel. And he's like, oh, thank you. And I said, I'm not a fan. And this is my brain, the way that I think. It's like dad joke mode 24/7, and my dad was somewhere nearby, so it was like double dad joke mode. And I was like, I'm not a fan, I'm a human being. I don't know why that came out, but it did. And Derek looks over and he's like, oh, really? And you know, I'm just thinking at that moment like, oh shoot, I forgot, like he's probably not in dad joke mode all the time like I am. And then someone else came over and talked to him and like said, I need you to come over here or something. So he went away, and I'm like, well, that was my one interaction with him ever. And if he ever sees me again, it's just, I was trying to be funny and it totally didn't work. So anyway, if you see me in open source, if you're coming to open source, it's only like a week and a half away right now. But it'll probably be like a week away when I actually edit this video because I'm procrastinating on it. But anyway, if I see you there and I'm awkward, that's just how it is, and it's no offense to you. And if I say something that I'm trying to be funny and it's not funny, that's just because I'm trying to make a dad joke, and most of the time they don't work out. Every once in a while one lands. But anyway, back to this laptop. This is from Argon 40, and it's called the Argon ONE UP, I think. It's actually a Compute Module 5 laptop. It's a real laptop. It's not like an external display, keyboard, and trackpad that you plug into a Raspberry Pi over here. The only thing plugged in right now is this Hack RF, which is a little software-defined radio. Right now it's tuning in some FM radio stations, but I'm going to use it to tune in mesh-tastic and maybe even set up sending and receiving. I don't know if I'll get to that in time. I'm trying to visualize everything on this little display, which adds its own wrinkles because you can see it's very narrow and my focus is just insane. It's focusing on this antenna. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, I'm going to put everything on this display, hopefully, and put it into this teeny tiny rack that fits in my checked baggage. And I'm going to run that all in one little self-contained rack at open source. We'll see if that actually works. But I figured I'd tell you a little bit about this laptop because I posted it on social media and a lot of people were interested in it. It's running off battery now, and the battery is at least good for a couple hours. I don't know how long. I'm still testing that. It has this external GPIO adapter, which uses 2 USB-C ports. I haven't tried yet what happens if I plug something USB-C into there. See those 2 little ports? But I think it's only for this. I think it just uses the connectors for all the pins and splits out the Raspberry Pi GPIO to this guy, which is cool because if you want to take this laptop on the road, but you have a little electronics project running, you can just unplug this and leave it all wired. So that's kind of neat. One of the things that the Raspberry Pi gives you that other laptops don't. Otherwise, you'd have to have like an external Arduino or some other setup. But it's a laptop. Like that's the cool thing about it. I'm going to close this and I'm going to close this, unplug the Hack RF, and show you. This is literally a Raspberry Pi laptop that hopefully will not cost too much. I'm not sure how much. There's a webcam with a built-in privacy filter up there. There's stereo speakers, there's a microphone, there's a big trackpad that's not the best trackpad in the world, but it's not the worst. This is the keyboard and all that stuff is kind of like Chromebook quality, but the finish of it is very good. You can see I can close it. And there's the bottom. The Compute Module 5 is under that metal plate the big one with the big rib in it, and I think that's like a heatsink, plus there's a fan that you can see with the vent right there. The fan blows air over the compute module, and I don't know where that air exhausts. I guess, yeah, it's up in that hinge. So anyway, this is the laptop. Like, it's literally a laptop that's a Raspberry Pi. This is one of the early production prototypes. I don't know if they're full production yet or not, but yeah, you know, one of the other things that I love about it is it's a 16 by 10 display. So it's 1920 by 1200, I think, which means that you get more vertical real estate to play with. You can see this is, I'm used to on my MacBook, I can click anywhere that I want on this trackpad, and I'm not the kind of guy that does the tap like that. I don't really like that too much because it's too, I don't know, for my fingers it just doesn't feel right. So I like clicking, and on my Mac I can click anywhere, and because it has haptic touch, that works. But on here, if you want to click, you have to click over here for left click, or I think over here for right click, yeah. So there's like a mechanical lever on each side, and you can't click in the middle, and you can't click in the top or anywhere here. You have to click over here or over here. So it'd be nice if they had like a little line on the trackpad or something to delineate that. But this is also not the final production hardware. I will be testing this and reviewing it. I'll probably bring this on my open source trip. So if you're there and I have it out, definitely swing by and take a look at it. There's also this little utility, which is funny, the Argon ONE UP battery utility. When it's charging, it keeps like showing charging notifications, so there's some software bugs and things to work out. I'm not gonna paint too rosy of a picture. The Raspberry Pi is not built for portable use, so there's some rough edges there, like there's no sleep. You either shut down or it's on, and when you close the lid, it does turn off the built-in display and the keyboard backlight, which, you know, this is early, so if I do function and press the backlight button, that doesn't seem to do anything. But the brightness keys do work, so you can turn down the brightness. You can see this is probably running a Python script or something. It's not the fastest responsiveness, but it also has volume up and down. That works. So, you know, generally speaking, it works as a laptop, but like I said, it's a Raspberry Pi, and they're not made for a laptop use. But there's also some other fun things. I was going to do this for open source, work on some CubeSat stuff. I have not had time for that. I have another CubeSat back in the storage. You can see I have lots of projects over there to work on. Anyway, procrastination, that's the name of the game, and that's what we're doing here. Let's go ahead and shut this down for now. And sorry about the focus. I'm guessing it's focusing on my hand and not on the screen too much. There it goes. Wait for it to actually shut down. It's still not shut down yet. I see the backlight on the keyboard. Maybe a software bug. I'll hold down the power button for 10 seconds and see if that does anything. Okay, now it's definitely off. But there's that laptop. So that is, it's pretty thin. It's like MacBook thin. And here's a Chromebook, the one that I used in my microcontroller video. And you can see it's actually a tiny bit smaller than a 14-inch Chromebook. And here's the height and the ports on one side. And let's look at the hinge side. Should be pretty boring in both cases. There's the hinges. And let's look at the other port side. There it is. So you also have micro SD, and this is kind of cool. You can actually dual boot, just plug in a micro SD card, hold down, I think, the space bar when you're booting, and you can select a different OS to boot off of really quickly. On other computers, it can be a little more annoying, but you can do that through USB, I guess. But unlike a Chromebook, this just runs Linux, which is cool. Chromebooks, it's a lot more annoying to get that working and more hacky. But yeah, if they can get this into the same price class as a Chromebook, I think that they'd have a winner. If it's going to be more expensive than that, it might be a little bit harder to sell. A cool thing about it is underneath this little panel, there's an NVMe SSD. You know what? I'll take this apart at least to this point so you can see that. Okay, so 8 Phillips screws gone, and you can see this is the main board. There's the NVMe SSD. There's the Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 with, I'm guessing, since this is a pre-production unit, I don't expect it to be perfect. I'm guessing the production units would have a little bit better thermal pad application. But this means also you could take that out and put a like Oculink in here and drive an external GPU off this thing if you wanted, because you can just put a USB drive in or a micro SD card to boot from. Anyway, that's the main board under there. I'm not going to take it down all the way today because I'm just testing this and want to make sure that I test it in its default shipping state. But yeah, that is the Argon ONE UP, which I'm excited about. I don't know about you. And I'm also excited about stopping my procrastination on like testing this laptop and actually getting my open source project done. So until next time, I'm Jeff Geerling.